Now, for so many kids, back to school means back to sniffles, but our GP, Dr. Brian King, is here with his top tips to keep your little ones in top form. Brian, you're very welcome on the show. It's lovely to have you.
Thanks.
Right, so heading back to school, there's a lot of coughs, a lot of sniffles, a lot of tickles. What should parents be on the lookout for as their kids are heading back to the classroom?
Look, I suppose it's that time of the year where, kids have started to circulate again, close quarters, in classrooms, in creches, in playgroups and so on. So I suppose the usual coughs, colds, runny noses, the usual viruses that circulate this time of the year are certainly making themselves known. COVID is still about as well.
Absolutely.
I've seen a bit of an uptick in COVID in the last month. So if there was any suspicion with a child or indeed a teenager or adult with a sore throat, runny nose, high temperature, no harm doing an antigen test just to be on the safe side. And the rules still go that you isolate for COVID until you're 48 hours largely symptom-free.
What can people do? For parents, listen, they're back to school now at this stage. These sniffles, these colds are going to happen. So is it a case of loading your kids up, and adults as well, with vitamins? Like, what do you recommend to try and combat this?
Yeah, I suppose, look, first thing is make sure you've a good supply of paracetamol in the form of Calpol or equivalent, or ibuprofen in the house. So, I mean, most children, when they get sick with something viral, lasts 2 to 3 days. They're off form. Keep the temperature under control, keep the pain under control. And usually most kids will bounce back. Sometimes their appetite is down. Make sure you're keeping them plenty hydrated, especially the younger children as well. And of course, same applies for mums and dads, because we're not immune either. They go off to school and they bring home a new bug pretty much every 3 to 4 weeks, and it makes its way through the house. So, paracetamol, ibuprofen for mum and dad as well, and plenty of fluids is usually for most.
So fluids and paracetamol, but are there vitamins? Is there anything like even vitamin D, vitamin C, what sort of things?
So there's certainly a lot of evidence around vitamin C and zinc for something like the common cold or mild head colds and viral illnesses, that they help, I suppose, ease somewhat the length of it and perhaps the severity of it. Very interesting, there is certainly evidence as well that vitamin D during the winter months, they say between October and March, vitamin D, we're very deplete in Ireland of it. Obviously it comes from the sun, so we don't get much sunshine for roughly about 6 months of the year. So there is definitely evidence around vitamin D as well as the supplement in everybody's diet.
Okay.
Now, I was one of those kids who hated missing a day of school. I was an absolute nerd.
Well,
my mum would have to tell me, no, you should stay home. Right? So is there a rule of thumb when it comes to, like, if children are feeling under the weather, but obviously parents don't want their kids missing out on too much, but is there like a general rule to go by?
Yeah, so I suppose, none of us want our kids missing school. Most kids don't want to miss school. There's also the implication of parents perhaps having to take time off work and stay at home. I suppose, look, these are viruses, and they're transmitted by normally coughs or sneezing in the direction of each other, or close intimate contact, or sitting beside each other. So keeping your child home breaks the chain on that. So I suppose we would say, look, obviously if they have a high temperature, runny nose, a cough, try and keep them at home for at least a day or two. Most kids will get better within a day or two, and certainly will be largely symptom-free. A good one, though, is if they have vomiting and diarrhoea. The guidance from the HSE is to not let them back to school, or indeed if you're an adult, not to go back to the workplace until you're 48 hours symptom-free. And that's really important, because that breaks the chain of transmission as well.
Diarrhoea is one of the telltale signs of the moment that people are looking out for with COVID-19, isn't it, as an early indicator?
There is, with this strain that's circulating, some people are getting the gastric side of it first. So they are getting vomiting, nausea, diarrhoea before, say, the runny nose, scratchy throat or cough.
What about the likes of head lice and things like this? I know with my kids, my wife and I, we're going through with the comb, whatever else. Is this something that kind of is expected when kids go back to school?
It is. I suppose head lice are spread again by close contact with each other. So you can imagine a classroom setting or a playgroup or creche setting, it's heads touching heads. I suppose there's no way of preventing head lice. If you're suspicious, if your child is scratching or itchy, it's, as you said, get the special metal comb. Most lice can be cleared by washing the hair, conditioner, getting the hair good and wet and easy to comb through, and keep combing every 2 to 3 days until you don't see eggs or live.
Are they allowed to go to school
anymore.
with that?
Yeah, but you may want to let the school know, because other kids in the class might need to get know. Well, tie up your hair is a good tip always.
Okay.
If you have a child with longer hair, tying up the hair just means they're not touching hair to the other person as much either. There are some hairsprays and shampoos that you can get as well, which you pull in and rinse out a couple of minutes later.
And they go for the cleaner hair as well, isn't that it? There was a misconception that it was only the kids with the manky hair that were getting it, but it's actually...
I think they don't discriminate,
they
really.
don't discriminate.
Yeah, but I was always the
I was going to say, don't
telltale.
wash your kids' hair.
Exactly. That's the key to it.
Now, in terms of vaccines that we could be looking at, on my very first day of big boy school, got the mumps.
Right.
Very first day. I remember the parents were having some kind of gathering down in the B hall whilst we had 3 hours or something in the classroom. And I remember feeling very unwell, but I just thought I was feeling nervous because it was my first day. And next thing, my mum came back and she was just looking at me as if to say, what has happened in the last 3 hours? Because my face was all swollen. So in terms of vaccinations, does that all happen naturally as part of the school cycle? Kids are going to be looked after in those first couple of months?
Yeah, so some parents may have already got the leaflet from the HSE. I know in our house we certainly received it last week as well for my daughter in junior infants. So what children in junior infants will be invited to get in the coming weeks and months, depending on what area of the country you live in, that the local area medical officer or nurses will come to the school and do the MMR booster, which they would have had at 12 months as part of the vaccine schedule with their GP. So this is just to boost their immunity, and they'll also get their 4-in-1 vaccine as well. So that will be rolling out in the next couple of months. And from secondary school point of view, boys and girls will be invited to get their HPV vaccine, as well as their meningitis vaccine and their whooping cough, tetanus and diphtheria booster as well.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, I tell you, being a parent, take the kids for the vaccines. I don't miss that.